Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, there seems to be more of you than there were this morning. Firstly, I want to address my Scottish accent, which is very broad, so I will apologise in advance for anything that you may not understand from my accent. So it's been I hope you're having a fantastic day, by the way. We have had some outstanding speakers this morning, some great sessions. Excellent to welcome Daniel Lacaille to this event as well. And we also have a fantastic keynote speaker in Marco Alonso Puig, who's going to close the event today. So plenty for you all to stay engaged with throughout the day. So for me, personally, this is my first time in Madrid. I arrived on Monday, and I've been lucky enough to see some of the great sights in the city and tasted some of the fine wines that you guys have as well in that time. So yeah, I'll keep the rest of my thoughts for my review on TripAdvisor when I go home. So today, what we're talking about is everything that you need to know about CRM and the Agent Desktop. But I think instead of Sabio and myself talking about our capabilities and what we can do in that regard, I think it's best that we use a live customer case study in the form of Sky Business. So, but before we do so, I think it probably makes sense for me to do a bit of introductions of myself. So because I have no manners, I will go first. Sorry, Sophie. So my name is Joe O'Brien. I am the Corporate Communications Manager for Sabio. I joined the business this time last year, actually, so a year with the company. I have experience, around 15 years experience in communications in the software and technology industry as well. And as part of my role, I have the privilege of telling and talking about and communicating some of the fantastic customer stories that we have across the business and from across our customer base. So in that regard, Sophie, would you be so kind to give the audience a little bit about yourself as well?
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie Petrou. I'm a project manager in the Sky Business Delivery team. I've worked at Sky for around 3 years now. We've been working on an exciting project with Sabio and Make Positive to roll out Salesforce CRM to our business. So it's been a really exciting project, and I'll tell you a bit more about it later, and I'll tell you a bit more about Sky Business and who we are and what we do.
Before I go into the question and answer session with Sophie around this project, I think it's probably best I kind of paint, set the scene of the project. So we collectively, and I know that you can all relate to this, we are in a brand new world at the moment. Over the last 2 years, we have came through some unimaginable experiences, and of course I'm sort of and hopefully we won't have to go through those experiences again. But of course, I'm sort of, I'm referring to the pandemic. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been so much change in both our professional and our personal lives. But the pandemic also brought with it some examples of rapid innovation and transformation. So much so that some of these innovative projects and transformative projects are being brought forward now by several years. But what that's done is that it has resulted in organizations struggling to build strong connections with those customers. They're struggling to make those connections and maintain those connections. And there's a real sense at the moment that it's probably as hard as it's ever been. And there's a multitude of reasons for that. I probably should use the clicker, yeah? Yeah, I should, yeah. There's a multitude of reasons for that. We are having to deal with an influx of new channels. We are also having to learn new skills and adapt to new technologies as well. And as well as that, we're also having to manage and react to new regulations that are emerging also. So, at the same time as all of that, there's a realization at the moment that customer expectations are actually at the highest that they've ever been. And so, So this is just this is not just a new chapter for businesses, in my opinion. There's a whole new playbook for businesses. So the world is changing as we know it from a business perspective, and we have to change. We have to change with it as well. So throughout this session, you'll hear mention of a company called Make Positive. Make Positive is Sabio's specialist CRM consultancy that we brought into the business in 2021. That acquisition allowed us to, enhance our focus on the CRM space. And Make Positive have actually been partners with Salesforce now for over 10 years. And through that partnership, they've worked with all sorts of businesses ranging from all sorts of sizes. So from the smaller SMEs to the larger global scale enterprises. But during their work together over the years, they've noticed a consistent emergence of some trends. And those trends are around customer goals and consistent customer challenges. So today, through the question and answer session that I'm going to have with Sophie, we'll cover those trends, but we'll also focus on three main themes, and that is engage, monetize, and scale. So I've sort of spoken longer than I imagined, so let's dive into the Sky Business TV live case study, and we'll find out how exactly Make Positive, accompanied by Salesforce, has helped them on their journey. So, Sophie, there will be people in the audience that don't know about the Sky business and how you guys are set up. Can you give an explanation of what type of business you are and how you fit into the wider Sky umbrella?
Yeah. So we're a small-ish team within Sky. We're mostly responsible for delivering live sports and entertainment to the commercial premises in the hospitality industry across the UK and Republic of Ireland. So think of, your clubs, your pubs, your hotels. As we touched on COVID earlier, as you can imagine, the type of customer that we work with, COVID was really tough on us and our customers. So that was one of the key drivers in this project, which we called the Customer Success Platform, in really sort of driving that change through and being able to come back from COVID stronger than ever for our customers.
Yeah, so this project kicked off for you, I believe, 2 years ago, and you went live in November last year, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah? So taking a kind of step back to those initial stages, can you kind of give an explanation on how you were operating at the time, specifically in terms of the sales, the service, and the marketing side of things?
Yeah, so, we had several challenges, but the key one really was that we just had several disparate systems with limited integration. So we had our customer service team were using a ticket management system, which really didn't have any case management functionality, and it wasn't really connected to any other systems within our business. Our field sales team were using an internally created system for their journey planning, which did work fairly well, but again, limited integration, and it was only really those guys that were using that platform. Our contact center sales guys were actually managing their pipeline through Excel trackers. So we had information everywhere. Everyone was using their own trackers, and it was a nightmare to keep track of data. And then our marketing team were doing everything via third parties. So their campaign creatives, everything was sent out externally in terms of creating that and sending that out. So because of that, we didn't really have a 360 view of the customer. We didn't have that in-house marketing tool, so we didn't have that control over time to market. And we had a lack of visibility of our sales funnel because we didn't have that pipeline tool. Minimal collaboration across our sales and service teams because everyone was using different systems and information was all over the place. So those are really the key sort of challenges that we wanted to address with this project.
Excellent, excellent. So bringing the project forward to the sort of, since you kind of enrolled the Salesforce platform out, what has sort of changed and what benefits have you seen since you moved onto the Salesforce platform?
So, I mean, it's been great, and we've seen huge benefits and lots of changes. The key one really is just enhanced visibility across the teams and collaboration. Collaboration has really never been better, and equally that allows us to provide a better customer experience. A good example would be our field sales team and our contact centre team, who work very closely. You know, we could have the guys in the contact centre trying to get hold of a prospect, and often if they can't, they'll send out a field sales guy, and they work in quite a sort of joint approach. Previously, because they were using different systems, I mean, their communication would just be via email or on the phone. We didn't have that in a system. Now, with both of those teams on Salesforce, they've got a view of each other's notes in real time, and not just between those teams, but, you know, managers or the service team or anyone else who might need that information has it there in Salesforce for everyone to see. So that's been one of the, that's a good example of one of the benefits that we've seen. We've condensed a lot of our systems, so 4 of our systems that we were using previously have condensed down to 1 in Salesforce, so that saved us a lot of cost, time and resource, so that's another benefit. And process automation, so a lot of stuff that we were doing manually previously, we're now doing automated through Salesforce. From a marketing perspective, our time to market previously would take at least about 3 weeks because we were going third party. Now, I mean, we could get something out in the space of a few days if we really wanted to, because using Pardot within Salesforce, we're able to create our campaigns ourselves and then push that out to our customers or our prospects whenever we like. And from a sales perspective, reporting that would usually take hours to collate, you know, going off to the guys that have got their own Excel trackers, asking for information and collating all of that and then sending that out, it was a bit of a nightmare. So now that's just available in a live dashboard. As long as you've got the information in Salesforce, a dashboard or a report can be created and it's there for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure a lot of people within the audience can relate to this, and, you know, embarking on a transformation project of this size can be pretty daunting, yeah? So the next question I have is, could you talk us through the execution of this project and also around your delivery approach and how Make Positive sort of supported you throughout that, and also your plans for how you're going to manage that moving forward?
Yeah, so once we decided it was the Salesforce route that we wanted to go to, they provided us with a number of recommended recommended integrators. So we reviewed that list and we chose to work with Make Positive because they were already working with Sky. They knew our business. They were working with our sister team, Sky Connect. So they were brought in fairly early on, and we created a good relationship with them. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise, and we really enjoyed our time working with them. How we sort of executed the delivery was when Make Positive were first brought in, they sat with us and held a series of workshops where we spoke to them about our requirements, how we're doing business at the moment, and, you know, what we would need from Salesforce moving forwards to be able to continue working the way we do or even better. So once we had gone through the discovery phase and, you know, our requirements were ironed out, we worked with Make Positive project managers to then start planning our sprints, and we worked in an agile way. So we did that stage, and then we kick-started the sort of development and delivery phase, going through those different iterations and sprints to get to that sort of minimum viable product that we wanted to deliver. Once we had that, we brought in some what we called Salesforce champions. So these were guys within our service and sales teams who were brought in early to help us with user acceptance testing, and who were going to be sort of champions along the way to help us land this. And alongside that, we kicked off the training. So Make Positive supported Sky Business with what they call Train the Trainer. So they trained our learning and development team. And our learning and development team rolled it out wide scale. So once we had gone live in November, we continued to stay in touch with our users and, you know, try and make improvements to the platform or get lots of feedback. But what we also did was so that we could continue to improve the platform after that first release, is we've continued to work with Make Positive, who we now have a managed service package with. So that's really helped us because Make Positive did do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the Salesforce development. But alongside that, we've also recruited a CRM manager who had previous Salesforce experience and can help us with simple config changes in the future. And we've also been upskilling our own technical teams just to try and get that sort of well-rounded support so that we can continue to, amp up this platform.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, again, for a project like this, having the ability of hindsight is a wonderful thing, as the famous saying. So, there's always going to be some bumps in the road throughout, a project like this, and learnings to be had as well. So, can you talk us through those bumps that you guys experienced and the learnings that you took away from those?
Yeah, so I think as everyone in this room could probably imagine, a project of this size, there's always going to be bumps in the road, and there were many. But ones that jump out to mind was the initial sort of ways of working. So when we kick-started this project, it wasn't just, Sky Business that were involved. We also had our Sky Technology team who needed to be involved, as well as Make Positive. So we all had different ways of working. It was a bit of a challenge initially, getting used to different ways of communication, even different work management systems like Jira, for example, and just 3 different ways of working. So that was an initial challenge, but I think we got there in the end and came to a way that we can all work together that worked for everyone. Another challenge was integrations with tools and systems that we were retaining. I think whenever you're working with tech, it never quite works right the first time. So that was a bit of a challenge sometimes. But again, working with Make Positive and our internal sort of tech guys, getting the right people in the room to iron it out and get it working, we got there in the end. So that was another one to note. And then the last one, which is probably quite an obvious one, was just adoption. We know that people don't like change. A lot of people have been using the previous systems that we had in place for a number of years. So it's been a real key challenge with adoption that we continue to work on today. So the way we tried to attack that as such is we've really tried to stay in touch with the users. We've been sending out surveys. We've also been getting in a room with the users, holding workshops, getting feedback, taking that away, providing that output so that they know that we're working on that. And then we've been doing further releases and improvements just based on their feedback. So we've really just tried to stay in touch with the guys, and we continue to do so, and stay in touch with the champions as well, so that we can continue to improve the platform where required. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So it sounds as though, from the beginning to where you guys are now, it's been a rewarding project, very successful so far. But as everyone knows in this room, successful businesses very rarely stand still. So what's next for Sky Business then?
So at the moment, we're looking at leveraging Salesforce Experience Cloud. So this is really building upon what we've got from a case management perspective, but it allows us to work with our business partners so we can tweak, what they can see on our existing service management system, and we can keep an eye on, SLAs with them, and everyone's got that information in one place. So just building upon what we've already got with Service Cloud, but with our partners.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Well, thanks very much, Sophie. That's some real great insights there. I think, I hope that you guys in the audience can take a lot from that session. As I said before, if you guys have any sort of any questions for either me or Sophie, we will be free to after this session to come and speak to us. So that's no problem at all. And again, apologies for the Scottish accent. If there is anything that you need clarification on, please, again, just come and find me after the session. But thanks very much. Thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.